Now, as the conflict in Syria continues to intensify, the BBC has heard allegations of sexual violence, including rape, taking place within government detention centres. The British government is asking the UN to address the issue, insisting that those responsible must be held to account. The BBC's Fergal Keane travelled to the Middle East and spoke to some of the victims. His special report does contain graphic accounts of the attacks taking place.
It is just one of the many roads along which they flee. These are among the 250,000 refugees of Syria's war. They bring with them a handful of belongings and stories of crimes that haunt the survivors. This woman from Homs says she was arrested at a checkpoint and later repeatedly raped along with 3 other women.
The daily rape took place in front of the other girls. That was the time they would remove the blindfolds so that the girls could see what was happening before their eyes and wouldn't know when their turn would come. Whether tomorrow, after 1 hour, they didn't know. It was done in rotation.
The witness says the rapes happened in the notorious Palestine branch of military intelligence, a building in Damascus later bombed by rebels. She alleges an interrogator used rats and mice in his violent sexual assaults on her and other women.
She was screaming. Afterwards, we saw blood on the floor. He told her, "Is this good enough for you?" They were mocking her. It was obvious that she was in agony. We could see her. After that, she no longer moved.
The witness says that after 2 months in the nightmare world of detention, she was helped to escape and flee Syria. The group Human Rights Watch says sexual violence is used to humiliate and degrade. Neither they nor the UN have so far made accusations of rape against the rebel side. We've spoken with victims of rape and with the people who've given them medical help, and what's clear is that sexual violence is taking place across Syria and is being directed at women and men.
They hate you and they said, confess, confess.
These young men were arrested in Damascus after taking part in demonstrations against the regime.
They raping me one by one. I'm start to say, please don't do that. Please don't do that. Nobody listened to me. And they said this for freedom. You want to have freedom? This is a freedom. And the another officer and the other security, they're just laughing. I was alone.
We followed this allegation of abuse across the region, here to Istanbul. Because the general who commanded the centre where the young man says he was raped recently defected to the opposition. He says that there was rape in other centres, but he always protected prisoners. Let me quote to you what a former detainee at your facility said. They were raping me. They were like animals. That's from a detainee at the centre you ran.
That is not true when it comes to the time that I was there. That is absolutely untrue. And if it were true, let him confront me, because I am responsible and can be questioned before any authority, whether national or international.
The international community gives aid to refugees, but it's simply too divided over Syria to order a war crimes investigation. We asked the Syrian government to respond to the allegations, but received no answer. It recently dismissed UN reports of torture, including sexual violence, as neither accurate nor objective. In the absence of other witnesses and with UN investigators refused access to Syria, it's impossible to corroborate rape allegations. But some survivors are determined to speak out.
Nobody visits you. Nobody hears your voice. It seemed this was our destiny, to be tortured for days and then die.
In this society, there's a huge degree of shame around speaking about a subject like this. Why have you decided to speak to me?
I am still afraid for the girls who remain inside. Every few days they would bring a new girl. I've now been out for 6 or 7 months. How many girls have they brought in during this time?
That, as the war escalates, is the most haunting of questions. Fergal Keane, BBC News, in the Middle East.